constantly seeking validation? Here's how you can move from people-pleasing to living an authentic life. Why do we care so much about what other people think? Let's get to the root cause of it and start to shift that. Do you want to know why you care so much about what other people think? Like, actually really want to know? Let's go into it. Let's break it down as to why we care and how we can change it and get back or get to living our authentic life. You want real freedom? It's time to stop being a people pleaser, because people pleasing is actually quite selfish. Welcome to Life by 8, your blueprint for living the most extraordinary life. I am Rebecca Grugan, your life architect on this journey to designing your ultimate life. If you are ready to level up using values levels, understanding yourself with the energetic blueprint, our 8 pillars to human wellness framework, this is for you. You are in the right place, so let's go. I'm not sure, should I sit like this? Is this the right way to sit? Or is this the right way to sit? Or like, what will people think? Luckily, I don't give a fuck. Why you care? I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you care so much about what other people think. So welcome back to another episode. Today we're diving into a question I hear all the time. Why do I care so much about what other people think? It's something we've all experienced at one point or another, worrying about other people's opinions, letting their judgments influence our decisions. But why do we do it? And more importantly, how can we break free from this constant need for external validation? In this episode, I'm going to unpack the reasons why we care so much about what others think and give you some tools to shift that focus back to yourself. So let's get into it. Why we crave external validation. Let's start here. Let's start with the psychology behind this. Why do you? And it's rooted in our biology and our survival instincts. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. Back in the day, being part of a group, values levels 2, for anybody across that, it was crucial for survival. If you were cast out of the group or the tribe, your chances of survival dropped dramatically. So naturally, we evolved to care about fitting in because fitting in meant safety. And that need for belonging, we are social creatures by nature. We are a herd animal. And so from an early age, we crave connection and belonging. And this need to be accepted is part of what drives us to care about what others think, because acceptance equals belonging. And this conditioning from society and our families, on top of that evolutionary wiring, we're also conditioned by society and family to seek approval. We're praised for doing things the right way, for meeting expectations, and for getting approval from authority figures. And over time, we internalize this need for validation, making it a natural part of how we navigate the world. And it is because of this that I'm so passionate about Montessori education. The intrinsic motivation it ignites in the child changes their entire human experience. And the thing is that in Life by 8 and with the work we're doing, this is what we're teaching you now. How can you be motivated internally rather than by the opinions of others? Because there are hidden costs of caring too much. While it may feel like we're doing it to maintain peace or stay connected, it actually comes with some major downsides. You lose your authenticity. When you're constantly worrying about what others think, you start making decisions that aren't truly aligned with who you are. You might say yes when you want to say no, or follow a path that doesn't resonate with you. And over time, you lose touch with your authentic self, with who you truly are. A few years ago, I read a book by Mark Mason. You may have heard of it, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And it was in reading this that I realized I hated baby showers, especially baby sprinkles. And I would say yes, even when I didn't want to go, or I would find a way to get out of going, which took up so much energy. And the moment I started saying no, and let me tell you, that was a process. It started by being an essay as to why I couldn't go, to now where it's just like, no, thank you. It's direct and it's to the point without having to prove a point. And working with clients to help them say no more, often in this context, has fundamentally transformed their energy levels. and their relationships with others. Because you see, resentment eats away at you and it takes you further away from being the person you truly are. So if you're someone who gets an invitation to something, maybe it's a hen's night, maybe it's to a housewarming, maybe it's just for coffee, to pick your brain, and you don't want to do it, what do? Do you say yes and regret it later? Do you come up with an elaborate excuse that, they have to scroll to read? What if you could literally see it, know your answer, whether it was a yes or no, and be able to communicate and keep everybody safe in that communication? So I'm going to use the example of a baby shower. You get invited to a baby shower, you don't want to go, and you know this. And so instead of saying, oh, I'm working, or no, sorry, or coming up with it, or saying yes and then being sick the day before, that happens a lot. I know some of you out there who do it. But what if you got the invitation and you just said, thank you so much for the invitation. I won't be there, but I look forward to meeting the baby. What if you just said that? Think about it. Could you? And what thoughts are running through your head if you imagine yourself sending that? Because it's those thoughts that are keeping you from having the life that you want and using energy on caring about what other people think. Do I care about what the other person that I'm saying no to thinks? I don't care about what they think. I care about how they feel, but I'm allowed to say no. And though how I say no is what's important here. If you cannot be truthful, if you cannot own it, you are likely to make the situation worse than better. And so practice without the essay. Allow yourself to trust yourself and make those decisions without the need for coming up with excuses. Side note, if you're wondering why I hate baby showers or baby sprinkles, if you've had a baby shower, you don't need a fucking baby sprinkle for your fourth child. You've got all the shit that you need. You're just taking advantage of people and you just like the attention and the external validation from others. My judgment, just going to put it in there. Maybe you just like getting people together. But have a think about it. Why do you need to have a baby sprinkle for your fourth child? Another thing, you can become stuck in that fear of judgment. The more you care about others' opinions, the more you start to fear judgment. You hold back from expressing your true thoughts or pursuing your dreams because you're worried about how you'll be perceived. How many times in your life have you not said something, not shared an idea, because you were scared of what others would think? This has become a major problem in society across the globe and humanity. We are truly struggling to find a solution for this. And part of what I see the solution to be, and why I do what I do, is so that others can understand how their words create their reality and how improving your communication skills can have a ripple effect on every human around you and have more people stepping into their power. Because this is the biggest cost, isn't it? You hand over your personal power. When you care too much about external validation, you're essentially letting others dictate your happiness, your self-worth, your success. And you are doing things, you are performing in the hope that someone tells you how great you are. And for some people, that performance is still happening even when the person they wanted the validation from is no longer alive. And then there are people waiting for their parents to die so they can start to live without the fear of what they will say. It is a huge problem that is stopping humanity's growth as a whole. Are you one of them? Who are you waiting to die so that you can then be your true self? And why are you waiting? That fear of judgment, it has many of us stuck in our evolution. The thing is, it's not just our own evolution, it's the entire evolution of human beings. So why are we wired for approval? Let's break it down into even more detail. The fear of rejection. We've all felt it. That sting, whether it's from family, friends, or colleagues. Rejection hits deep. It hits deep because it taps into our need for belonging. We fear that if we go against the grain or stand out too much, we'll be rejected. And that's a scary place to be. For many people, rejection equals death. Actually, we burnt witches at the stake for being different, for being outcasted, for being rejected. We label disabilities and make things neurodiversity like ADHD and autism as if there's something wrong with those people. Me being one of those people. Why do you think those labels are there? This in itself, rejection, it can paralyze someone from doing anything against what they are told to do. You are punished. if you are not on time. If you get a D or an E, you fail. You're slower at sport, so you get picked last. This rejection, this fear of rejection, affects you and many around you more than you think. Another point is caring about what others think also comes from a need to control how we're perceived. If people see us a certain way, it feels like we're in control of the narrative, of the story they're telling themselves about us. But in reality, we can't control how others perceive us. And trying to do so just creates more anxiety. It's a never-ending fucking roller coaster until you decide to stop it. And in today's world, social media plays a huge role. We're constantly bombarded with curated versions of other people's lives, which can make us feel like we need to live up to certain standards. The likes, the comments, the validation, it's addictive, but it can also be damaging. There is a major fallout happening right now in society, the vanity metrics. As the algorithms change on these platforms, people who used to get thousands or millions of views are getting barely any, and they are struggling mentally. For so long, their identity and their worth has been tied up in these numbers, and these numbers equaled worthiness. Social media's impact on the mental health crisis is real, but it's not the platform's fault. You can take Meta and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok to court as much as you want, but it's our responsibility. It's everything and everyone. It's how we developed as a society. Values level 4, right, wrong, good, bad, yes, no. This is why we are here. And though it's changing. With every transition, with every change, there will be collateral and sacrifice as we move through this evolution. It's just that many people do not want to acknowledge that. At every point of evolution, there has been human sacrifice. Again, though, that's a whole podcast in itself that can have a dedicated subject to it on another day. So I want to shift our focus to solutions. How do we break the cycle? So here are some practical steps to stop caring. So you can stop caring so much about what others think about you and start living your life authentically. Shift from external to internal validation. Instead of looking for approval outside of yourself, start building internal validation. Ask yourself, do I feel good about this decision? Is this aligned with who I am? And the more you practice listening to your inner voice, the less you rely on external opinions. And a lot of our need for approval comes from a lack of self-compassion. We're often our harshest critics, and that inner judgment can drive us to seek approval from others. So start practicing self-compassion, being kind to yourself, especially when you make mistakes. It helps you build resilience against external judgment. And could you or can you let go of perfectionism? A huge reason we care so much about what others think is tied to perfectionism. We want to be seen as successful, put together, and flawless. But perfection doesn't exist. When you let go of the need to be perfect, you free yourself from constant worry about how others perceive you. It's a game changer. It is true freedom. And one of the tools when it comes to this is the power of embodiment. I use this with my clients. Yes, it's a trending word that seems to have overtaken consciousness at the moment. But embodiment, by definition, means the practice of connecting with and fully experiencing the physical sensations, emotions, and awareness within your body. It goes beyond intellectual understanding and emphasizes the integration of mind, body, and spirit in real time, promoting a deep sense of presence and self-awareness. And so in the context of personal development, and what we're talking about today, embodiment involves bringing attention to how emotions and experiences are stored and expressed through your body, often helping individuals release tension, trauma, or habitual patterns that may hinder your growth. And so by being grounded in the body, one can respond to life, to judgments, with greater authenticity, alignment, and balance. you can cultivate a deeper connection between your thoughts, your feelings, and the action that you take. For me, this is where you can use the A4 process. It's in your awareness, you can acknowledge it, you can accept it, and then you can take action. And so for me, embodiment, it's the integration of mind, body, and soul. It's taking the time to not just learn something intellectually, but to become it, to be it. Many people learn the thing, they're taught the thing, but they never actually embody it. And the reason that you feel imposter syndrome is because you are lying. And the reason that you feel like you care what other people think, is because you aren't showing up fully as yourself. So some tools I use in my Mary Poppins bag when I'm working with clients is breathwork, because this can help ground yourself. Whenever you feel overwhelmed by what others think, use breathwork. There's a whole range of different styles that we teach, and you can see some of those for free on our YouTube channel. But you can use breath to ground yourself. And the simple practice helps calm your nervous system, making it easier for you to tune into your own truth instead of the noise of external opinions. And I also use NLP to reprogram limiting beliefs. And neuro-linguistic programming can be used to reprogram the limiting beliefs that keep you stuck in the approval-seeking cycle. Beliefs like I'm not liked or I'm not good enough can be shifted through these techniques, allowing you to feel more confident in your decisions. And a big part of the work that I do is about trusting your own intuition, because we all have that inner voice that knows what's best for us. But it is often drowned out by the opinions of others. Start paying attention to your intuition, that gut feeling you get when something feels right or wrong. And I work on getting clients to use all their rep systems and all their senses to realign them with their intuition. Because trusting yourself is the key to breaking free from the need of external approval. So some everyday life tips, finally. Let's talk about what you could actually do without the need for a coach or somebody else in your corner. Start to set boundaries. If someone's opinion is weighing you down, it's time to set boundaries. Politely, but firmly, let people know when their input isn't needed. It's your life, and you get to choose who influences it. The thing is with boundaries is you can set them, but you also have to communicate them. Because if the people in your life don't understand that there's a boundary there, if you haven't told them, you have no right to get shitty at them if they cross it. Because just because you decide there's a boundary and you haven't communicated it and they go on the same behavior, you haven't done what you need to do, which is to ensure that they know what that boundary is and to be consistent with holding it. Another tip is limit your social media exposure. So if social media is triggering you and your need for approval, consider taking a break or setting time limits. Social media absolutely can be a useful tool. You may have found me because of social media. But it's important not to let it dictate your self-worth. And this is what so many people do. Hence, what's happening with the algorithm changing and people who used likes, people who used interactions and going viral to dictate what they are worth, why they are mentally struggling right now. You can focus on what you can control, what's in your control, because you can't control what other people think, but you can control your own actions, your own reactions, and your thoughts. Keep reminding yourself that other people's opinions are not your responsibility. Start to change the way you speak about yourself to yourself. That's where self-compassion comes in. You see, if you're so concerned about how others are perceiving you, how others are judging you, you are likely to be judging other people and situations around you. And you're wasting so much energy that could be going towards the life that you want to build, the way in which you want to turn up in this world, because you are limiting yourself and using your energy on thinking about what others think of you. And to be fair, most people don't actually give a fuck about you. In the end, it's natural to care what other people think, but it shouldn't control your life. It doesn't need to. And when you can shift your focus to internal validation, and you can practice self-compassion, and you tune in to your own wisdom through embodiment practices like breathwork or NLP, you can break free from the need for that external approval. Remember, your worth isn't defined by what others think. You are enough just as you are. Thank you for tuning in today. And if this episode has resonated with you, be sure to join me at one of our Life by 8 events or workshops, or in our coaching programs where we dive even deeper into these concepts. Until next time, keep growing, stay true to yourself, and trust your inner wisdom.